Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa, and today is our New Truth Tuesday. So I'll have Amy Fulmer has been digging up all the good stuff about the Arizona audit and what's happening behind the scenes. We've got some great clips. So take this quick break and give us a like, share this video, get the truth out there, and we'll be right back with Amy Fulmer. Welcome back, everybody. Amy, welcome to you on this wonderful New Truth Tuesday. You've got quite a bit of truth for us from what you sent me. All the links keep coming in. So thanks for doing all the research and staying on top of what's going on in Arizona for us.
Yeah. Well, Lisa, thank you so much. And, I really am so grateful, as I've been preaching for 2 months now. This is so important, and it's getting really, really interesting. We've got timelines, we've got information, and we're like this right now. We're like this. This thing could go either way. But what we're going to talk about today, I think, is going to re-show everybody no one fights this hard unless they're trying to hide something. Yeah. And the state of Arizona, County Board of Supervisors, the left, they are fighting this thing like nobody's business. And here's our thumbnail. And if there's nothing to see in Arizona, Wisconsin, Georgia, Minnesota, Nevada, New Hampshire, and Pennsylvania, Michigan, then let us see it. No one hires 100 lawyers to hide a victory. So the fight is real, you guys. It's real.
Definitely. Speaking of the fight, there was almost a fight. You sent a link. I guess Karen Fann, your favorite, you're her number one fan, has refused to do interviews for CNN. And so instead they hijacked her in a parking lot, you said.
Yeah. So
the clip.
Yeah. So here's the clip, you guys, and you got to see this. You just can't believe it. And I don't normally watch CNN, but every once in a while, I got to see what they're doing. This is ugly. This is nasty. As you know, Karen Fann is the president of the Arizona Senate. She is our primary dog in the fight for this recount. I feel she's a hero. If there was a Purple Heart Award, she would get it. Maybe she'd make a great president. She has risked her life, as far as I'm concerned. She's put her neck on the line politically, personally, and every other way. And this woman is more of what we need. She is amazing. So they hijacked her in the parking lot of the Senate as she was walking to her car. And we have a lovely CNN here trying to get information from her. So I hope you guys like this clip. It's a little long, but this shows you the sentiment and the aggressiveness and how nasty this is getting. And to me, it's, if they weren't this aggressive, what are they hiding that they don't want us to find out?
Absolutely. All right, we'll let this thing play.
Hear from the Arizona State Senate Republican who called for the so-called audit of the 2020 presidential election ballots in Phoenix. She's avoided talking until now. CNN's Kim caught up with her. Here's her report.
Good morning, Senator Fann. You may not recognize Arizona Senate President Karen Fann.
Let's get this thing done.
She's the elusive leader behind the notorious so-called audit happening in Maricopa County, Arizona.
I don't know what's legit, what isn't legit, but why wouldn't we want to answer those questions?
Do we just questioning democracy?
No, I'm questioning the integrity of the election system.
Which is the backbone of democracy.
That's right. Which means we should have full 100% confidence in our democracy and in our election system.
But you're talking about trying to disprove conspiracies.
If I have to, yes. Why wouldn't we? If somebody says something is out there, I would love to be able to say, that's not true, guys.
Aren't you raising more questions by giving rise to these conspiracy theories?
No. I'm answering questions.
After declining a dozen requests from CNN to talk, we finally caught up with her in the Senate parking lot. Despite 2 previous audits in Maricopa County that found no widespread fraud, Fann says this third review is needed. Over the last month, we've seen this little-known subcontractor the Republican-led Senate hired, Cyber Ninjas, use UV lights, hunting for non-existent watermarks on ballots, and high-tech cameras looking for foreign fibers and photocopied ballots. Here's why, says Fann.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Are you 100% confident that every vote that came in Arizona or any other state, or can you say emphatically 100% that no dead people voted, that ballots weren't filled out by other people, that the chain of custody from the minute people voted their ballots, that the chain of custody was accurate and on target the entire time? Can you tell me that?
I can say that what the data shows us
No.
there was no widespread fraud.
I didn't say there was fraud.
But you just said chain of custody.
Yeah, chain of
Dead
custody.
people. These things are all fraud.
Well, I've asked you a question.
Uh-huh.
Can you honestly tell me in all the states that no ballots from people that are already deceased were not filled out and sent in?
I can tell you that what the data has shown overwhelmingly is that this was the most secure election in American history.
Okay, but you can't answer that question either, can you?
I'm answering it. I'm telling you
No,
that.
you're telling me what the data says. I asked.
And
You
the
were asking
data
me.
is what we should be driven by. What the facts are may be the disconnect. Fann defends the pro-Donald Trump media organization One America News Network, or OAN, as being the only outlet given extensive access to the review.
First of all, when we talk about transparency, from day one, the entire process has been live streaming. So anybody
On OAN, with cameras controlled by OAN.
Are you saying that OAN is not a credible news source? Are you saying that? Okay, I'll remember that. CNN is saying that OAN is not a credible one.
Yes.
Okay.
OAN personalities have fundraised for the Arizona audit, and a pro-Trump nonprofit claims it has raised $1.7 million for the audit. Fann says when the audit nears its end, the public will learn who is exactly paying for this. For now, she says taxpayers are covering the first $150,000.
Well, we are paying the $150,000. We are paying for some of the security, and we are paying for the cost of the Coliseum. Well, we're paying for our fair share. Anything over and above that is being covered by others. I do not know who they are, but I know from the get-go there was a lot of grassroots people. I have been told that there are people sending in $10, $50 checks, $100 because they want to see this audit done.
Fann's decision to continue with this audit is backed by the Republican majority in Arizona's Senate. It looks like they're chasing conspiracies.
Or debunking conspiracies. That's another thing.
And
You don't look at that. See, everybody wants to twist that word around. How about debunking conspiracy?
And how long do you believe that this process should go?
As long as it takes.
Do you believe this is helping democracy?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Will you do this every election?
It will be a lesson in democracy that we answer people's questions. And I want the people, I don't care if you're in Arizona or any state across the nation, if we have those kind of doubts, we owe it to them to answer their questions. This will be the basis of a gold standard.
Kim Law joins us now from Phoenix. It's interesting. She's saying essentially that if anybody feels like something wasn't fair, then there will always be audits because people will always think something's unfair. Whoever loses will think it's not fair. And at some point that this will just continue on, that this is the new normal.
She quantified it. She said if it's only 2% of voters who think that it's not fair, you can ignore that. But because there are so many, she says, who do not believe this election result, that they have to chase all of these conspiracies. But Republicans here in Maricopa County say that is not being able to tell the difference between fact and fiction. And Karen Fann, somebody who the Republicans in Maricopa County really deeply admire, have known for many years, Anderson, they say she is chasing a fiction.
I flagged as a bolo last night, but you know what? It's even bigger and more important than I made it, okay? You have to look at who's behind the fraud in Arizona. And that's why I call it fraud, because the more you learn and the more you look, the worse it is. It may be crazy, but it is real and happening. And there is a new conductor helping to drive the crazy train. It should tell you everything you need to know about the legitimacy of this effort to try to overturn the presidential election results in the state's largest county of Arizona, 7 months after the vote. The Republicans say they did it right. They looked at it twice. The people who are on the board overseeing it, who are all Republican, don't understand why this is happening. But now you will. This man is former Overstock CEO Patrick Byrne. He has turned crazed Trump sympathizer. Very, very passionate about it. He is helping bankroll this clown show in Maricopa County with a group he runs called the America Project. His group is apparently helping not just raise money, but to decide who counts the ballots. They are recruiting the volunteers as a liaison with the Republican-controlled state Senate. He's launched a website that aims to raise nearly $3 million for the sham and claims to have already raised to prove Trump was the...
Bless you.
Now you may be thinking, so Byrne, I like Overstock. What's the big deal? Byrne is the guy who says he was present at that bonkers meeting at the White House in the final days of Trump's presidency about martial law, the one attended by that and the disgraced former national security advisor, Michael Flynn. There was allegedly a clash over talk of martial law and seizing voting machines to try to overturn the election. Byrne was there. Byrne is the guy who came on this program a couple years ago with one of the wildest allegations I've ever heard, saying the so-called deep state was directing him before the last presidential election to pursue a romantic relationship with convicted Russian operative Maria Butina. You remember this? The FBI wanted you to continue your association to get information. They never told you you needed to have a romantic relationship with somebody.
Well, eventually yes, they did.
They told you that you had to have a romantic relationship.
That's what I'm getting to. This gal Maria, oh my gosh, highest national priority. And they said, and the very honorable men and women, the men in black, they said, we want to be clear. This never happens in the United States. We are the good guys. Oh, we don't work like the bad guys, but we need to ask you to rekindle a romantic relationship with Maria Butina. And
members of the FBI that you're sure were members of the FBI asked you to do this. And you know their names.
And I know their names.
Here's the problem. Former top FBI official.
Okay, whoa. He looks completely different in these two. Watch. I'm just going to go back just a second so you can see.
Okay.
What he
Okay.
And if you're
Okay.
and now, that was bizarre. There he is.
Members of the FBI asked you to do this. And you know their names.
And I know their names.
Here's the problem. Former top FBI officials said, no, he doesn't.
Does not look
There's
like the
nothing to
same guy.
this. Then Byrne kind of flamed out into oblivion, resigned from Overstock over the conspiracy talk. But now he's back again as one of the main forces behind what's happening in Arizona. The Cyber Ninjas, it's a funny name. But the fact that this is the man organizing this situation, picking or helping to pick the people who are going to count the ballots, Bolo. Tonight,
Very interesting. And I think it's weird that they talk to Karen Fann, then they do an interview where then they are discussing, and then she, instead of letting it come out of Karen's mouth, she's saying, well, and then she quantified it. If 2% care, then it doesn't matter. But which I'm sure that was not.
Well, first of all, Lisa, the misinformation coming out of these CNN anchors, if you even want to call them anchors, I actually think they're criminals and they all need to go to jail. They are misleading the American public. I am on Arizona Twitter. The majority of the people in this state want this vote. I don't know what side of the fence they're on because they don't say I'm a Republican or I'm this and that, but they just are like, they've done polls and I've heard numbers up until as much as 78% of the people in Arizona are like, we've never gone blue in this state. And just even if you look at yesterday on Twitter, do you know there was Trump rallies
Yeah.
across America.
Yeah,
What
those
president?
parades still all out in, Jupiter Island, they were doing a big boat parade, Trump boat parade again, all of those things. Yeah.
So, what president do you remember in history that continued to have rallies after he was out of office?
Right. Never. Never.
But the point I wanted everybody to see is that you can see the words that they use, and they twist, they twist, they twist. They're aggressive, they're hostile. CNN needs to, first of all of CNN management, senior management needs to be arrested and go to jail for treason, for sedition. They have misled the American people. Their information is fake, phony, and false, and there's an agenda behind everything. And now they're talking about the Overstock CEO. What about Soros?
Yeah.
What about him paying for the 100 lawyers? Who's paying for the 100 lawyers to stop this thing?
Well, and not just that, they openly, before this all happened, remember that they were going in and Soros was paying the fines of felons in Florida so that they would be able to vote, which is completely illegal. You're not allowed to give somebody anything for their vote, along with many other things we know.
Yeah, so they pick and choose their information. And the point is that we know that the Clinton Foundation is bankrolling this in conjunction with George Soros to stop. They're the one that are paying for these 100 lawyers. And the 100 lawyer thing is real. But guess what? Here's the good news. They haven't been able to shut it down.
That's true. It keeps going, and they're
Think
recruiting
about
more
it.
people, and
So this is where we're at on the timeline, you guys. As of last night, about 1 million votes have been counted. They have doubled the volunteer staff so they can move this through faster. They are doing background checks on the people who are doing the counting. From what I understand, and I don't know about this, but they are using the word volunteer. Oh, thank you, Lisa. That's the tweet that I wanted. And I guess a lot of people are just volunteering their time. When you watch the footage inside, listen, I don't know what I'm looking at, but I think these machines and all this is really, really good because they're finding out that the paper on the mail-in ballots is different than, in all the 8
right, they were
counties.
finding bamboo, right?
Yep.
In the mail-in ballots.
And the other thing is because of Phoenix has 8 precincts and Maricopa's 1, I guess the Dominion machine paper, they're finding discrepancies in the paper. Like if Dominion was setting up the paper portion of their machines at the physical places, why is there different grades of paper in different precincts? So that's one of the things the auditors are picking up. They're going like, well, listen, in precinct A, it was this kind of paper. In precinct B, we're finding discrepancies. We're finding bamboo. We're finding all these things. So what happens is they pull those ballots and then they do further investigation. And these guys, cyber ninjas, are finding all kinds of things. The other thing is, I think we hit on this last week, that they were able to break the code and get into the actual Dominion software after the County Board of Supervisors refused to give it to them when it was under court order. And here's the interesting part. Here's the part. And there's, again, this is a little gray, you guys, so just give me a little leeway here. Dominion Machines is an internal, like a local area network situation. They call it LAN, local area network versus wide area network. The whole point of the Dominion software was to keep these machines not online, exposed to the internet, so they'd be virgin. The auditors, when they were able to break into the machines, now this is what I read from the IT people. Bear in mind, I'm getting secondhand on Twitter from IT people. Maybe it's all BS, but this is what they said. They said when they got in there, the machines were set, the settings were changed so they could access the internet.
Interesting.
Okay. It's not supposed to be like that. So when they find stuff like that, what the auditors are doing is they're actually halting. The other thing that they found when they went into the data that they weren't supposed to find was that where there was 87 ballots that were in one file,
Mm-hmm.
there was 200 votes for Biden in that same file.
Interesting.
So I'm getting all this data. I'm getting all this data. And none of it, and I'm a layman, I'm not even counting. If I was doing any kind of audit, you could be auditing Girl Scout cookies. You know, if the box is left over versus the boxes sold, and you know the boxes are getting sold at $3.75 a box or whatever they sell for,
Right.
there should be X amount of money in the kitty. I mean, you don't have to be a CPA to figure that one out. And so
Yeah.
the point is there's all these discrepancies that is coming out of the audit. They're not saying of these 1 million votes, they're not saying who the votes are leaning towards. They can't say that yet.
Interesting. So what is the timeline on this? Because like the guy that they were interviewing, they asked him, you know, how long is this going to take? And it was basically as long as it needs to take. We know
Right.
that they fought to get that extended. Is anybody estimating when this might?
Well, yeah, they are.
Okay.
The auditors are saying that they've done over 1 million. They've got 2.1, so they're halfway through, and and now they've doubled their staff.
Okay.
And so they're saying they're hoping by mid-June, but here's the deal. I don't know if we're going to get the results that quickly, and this is where it's going to get really sticky. And I've got some more information to follow up
Okay.
about already the damage control that's getting done in the event that it turns out the truth comes out and is that, you know, our beloved president really did win, and that we have an imposter in the White House.
Well, you know what I think.
I know what you think. You think what I think.
Yeah.
But you
I
guys,
just want people to think for themselves, you know,
yes.
get this information and think for yourself.
But
for
you
sure.
can see if you're not a critical thinker listening to Anderson Cooper up there looking so sharp and everybody on CNN, the way they twist the words, the way they couch the questions, the way she got so in Karen Fann's face, she would not answer her question.
Oh, her body language was so aggressive. You know, I mean, that's what I was looking at was, let's see if I can go back and find some of this. I mean, she's like in her face with it. Oh, wait, I'm not sharing again. Sorry. I apologize. She's like in her
look at
face
that.
with it. And then she like stands there with her arms crossed. And another part of it, where is it? Right here. Like that's a not very welcoming interview.
Right.
She's like just being really
And
aggressive.
and the chick from CNN, I don't know where she comes up with this 2% thing. This isn't 2% of the state of California wants this recount. This is more like 75% of the people in
She
Arizona.
said, and the lady said that the Republicans in Arizona don't want it, which
That's
is
not
not
true.
true.
It's not true. This is the misinformation why I think they all need to be arrested and go to jail for treason and sedition, because they are issuing fake and phony information. And then they count words. They use words like witch hunt, false.
Mhm.
You know, they use their
Conspiracy.
warm and fuzzy words to manipulate the mind of people. And Lisa, I know your audience is out in front of this. I know they are. But again, this is the trickery that we're faced with. And it's not just in regards to this, it's everything, whether it's the jab that we're talking about, whether it's every single thing, what's in our food, the data the CDC puts out, it's all manipulated to create an agenda. And it's a false agenda.
And these are not the same person.
You think so?
I don't think so. Look how different his head is shaped. You think that looks like the same person?
Well, it could be the lighting. Yeah, I think it looks close enough.
The tan, the head looks different to me. The nose looks different to me.
It could have been his makeup that day. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know. I wouldn't, it's not as big as the discrepancies that you see with Hillary. Some of the, it doesn't even look like the same person.
No, the Hillarys are terrible.
They're terrible. So I don't know. But, this is where we're at. So we have this audit going on. We have a deadline of June. Now, we have two other documents here that I think fill in back information about how this fight is so important. Again, what do we know? We know the powers that be, which include George Soros and the Clinton Foundation, they have not had the legal power to shut this thing down, even with their 100 lawyers.
Yeah, it's still moving forward. So
and it's moving forward at full steam ahead. So that's very positive. So we have a document, Lisa, that this is really interesting. And it's the Arizona House Committee votes to strip Secretary of State roles after she slammed the 2020 election. So you want to pull up that one?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh, okay, great. All right. So I found this. Now here we have Miss Katie Holmes, and she's the Arizona Secretary of State. And she's the latest Democratic politician to swing and miss. And this is according to KNX-V-TV in Phoenix, who has been a vocal critic of Arizona's ongoing audit of the 2020 election in Maricopa County. So this woman has been stripped because she's been a critic of this audit, criticizing it, stripped of most of her duties by a measure approved by the Arizona House Appropriations Committee. If these changes are confirmed by the full Arizona legislature and enacted as part of a larger bill, this is what it says: Hobbs will no longer be able to defend the election lawsuits. These are the lawsuits to stop the audit. So behind the scenes, there's a whole body of Arizona legislators that is driving this movement to bring truth and honesty to the American people, because that's what we're talking about, not just Arizona. Because like you said in your tweet yesterday, Lisa, we can't even think about the 2020 midterms if we don't fix 2020. You said it, because there won't be 2022 midterms.
Or 2020 midterms, and people talking about 2024, like we're so far away from that.
Right.
We have to fix 2020. That
Yes.
has to happen.
And the reason why it's never happened before is we didn't have the people that were willing to fight, like we have Karen Fann, who's willing to fight. So basically, I thought this was very interesting because they're already removing the obstructionists. They're pulling them out. And then the Maricopa County recorder, the recorder guy, he wrote, this is why Maricopa County is doing the audit: to analyze hacking vulnerabilities of both the tabulation hardware and software, okay? Verify that no malware has been installed to the tabulators. Determine if the tabulators had connected to the internet at any point during or after the election. Okay? This is very specific IT stuff, guys. This is very specific. Assess if any vote switching occurred as a result of the tabulators. Now, these 4 points, like I told you on Arizona Twitter, people are even coming forward that are involved in the audit and finding problems with what they're talking about. Okay. It is true that the challenges to the 2020 election, including 8 in Maricopa County alone, have been universally successful in court. Okay, that's a win for us. So they're taking out this Katie Hobbs, Secretary of State. They're removing her from obstructing the audit. We've got court wins behind us. We've got double the auditors now. We were able to get into the Dominion machines, even with a court order. The County Board of Supervisors tried to stop us. They tried to stop us in court, and it's not happening. Okay? But Arizona Democrats are trying to spin the audit as a partisan witch hunt. They like that word, witch hunt. After all, they need to keep attracting Trump to distract from the numerous crises of the Biden administration, as well as their own partisan infighting. Elva Diaz, a columnist for the Arizona Republic, referred to the audit in a piece last week as, get this, you guys, nothing more than a Republican attempt to get Hobbs out of the way to keep feeding Arizonians lies about a stolen presidential election and deepening the public's mistrust leading up to the 2020 midterms. That is not true.
No, it's absolutely not true.
So this is their narrative, you guys. This is a narrative. This is a narrative. Hobbs herself made similar claims in a statement posted on Twitter. She wrote that the fact that the legislature has singled me out or my office for these unjustifiable restrictions that expire at the end of my term make it clear what this is really about: partisan politics. The most extreme members of the legislature think they can stop me from doing my job and working on behalf of Arizona voters, she continued.
Wow.
Well, they removed her.
Well,
And now
that's
they-
exciting. So the good
Well,
guys
wait a
are-
minute. Actually, my bad. They have to vote on it. They've got to confirm it with a vote. So,
well, and they were saying that it would strip some of her. Earlier in the article, it said some. So maybe does she keep the position, but it strips some of her powers? Is that what
Right.
they're saying?
so basically what happens is,
Most of her duties. She
Yes.
has been stripped of most of her duties.
right.
So
And part of those duties will be, she will be removed from the election audit oversight portion of her job.
okay.
And they're removing her from some museum. She does something for some, they're taking her out of that. That, again, we do have to, let's go back and be fair. This hasn't been voted on yet. We don't have the election results. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I am a glass half full kind of a girl. And to me, I can tell you in my life of voting, and I've been voting since I was 16, I've never seen anything like this. Nothing. Americans are going to the mat right now, and every way, shape, or form, everyone's pulling their weight. And I think before this is all over, you're going to see so many Americans step up, and they're going to, like Lisa, like your project with, the one
Beatles. I was going to
Beatles.
say, Operation Sunlight. There is a link in the description below. This is something tangible that you guys can be a part of. I met with one of my patrons today, Nancy, and she went through, signed up for Operation Sunlight. She's received her packet from her local committee. She said there's a position open, and she goes, I've never been involved in politics, but I'm going to accept this position and be part of it. So I'm just so proud of everybody and excited to see how empowered you can be. So you can go to operationsunlight.com. It's very simple registration, and then they give you information on, look at this. Pennsylvania is already up here. So I feel like Pennsylvania is going to be a big deal. I think Arizona starts the dominoes, and I think Pennsylvania opens this thing wide up, but we'll find out. But you just click start, put in your name, email address, where you live, and then they give you information on who you need to contact. They give you emails that you can copy and paste, and how you can help be a part of bringing the light and the truth in your area. So that's something everybody can do.
Right. So in kind of wrapping up on this topic here, because, you could look at this as beating a dead horse or a witch hunt. Obviously, I don't. I think this is one of the single most important frauds to be exposed in the history of America. Mm-hmm. And it's taking this kind of legwork. The citizens are involved. But what we have here, Lisa, is the next document is titled Arizona Senator Wendy Rogers lists takeaways from the Arizona audit tour. So Wendy Rogers, she's an Arizona senator, and this is kind of cool. She went to the floor in the Veterans Memorial Coliseum on Thursday, the 27th, okay, for a tour of they're calling it a historic Arizona audit. I do think it's historic. And she took some notes, and these are the findings. So I thought this was really cool. So first and foremost, there's an increase in capacity. They went from 17 to 32 paper inspection tables using microscopic cameras. Okay. That's to find out why is there discrepancies in paper? What is that? Is the paper coming from China? I mean, what's going on here? From 20 to 44 counting tables, yellow, green, and blue. So they've doubled the counting tables. Then they moved from 4 tables to 12 aggregation tables. And I guess the aggregation tables are where they put things that have to be aggregated into segments, like we found this, we're not sure about this, and then they're going to collate it afterwards. And more audit forensics are done each day. So theoretically, the mail-in ballots should all be the same type of composition paper and fiber with no variance. Those are the mail-ins. So if the variances are seen, there should be an explanation. If there's no explanation, then there's a gap.
Yeah.
Okay.
So look at this. Did you notice this trending headline they popped in here? So Pennsylvania has sent a delegation to Arizona today to get an on-scene tour Wednesday, tomorrow, of the Arizona audit facility. So that's pretty exciting.
Well, there you go, Lisa. I mean, that
There we
backs
go.
up your whole thing about Pennsylvania nipping. They're nipping on the heels of this Arizona audit.
And we've got Georgia will be big too. But
Georgia is going to be huge. So now we have 703 precincts were condensed down to 175. Every precinct has different ballots. Now, this is interesting. Thus, if your ballot was printed on demand, then the paper in those situations could legitimately vary. But the paper should not vary for the mail-in ballots. Now, the last I heard, again, bear in mind, it's Arizona Twitter, so could be fake, phony, and false. Let's just go there. But they're finding mail-in ballots with bamboo, which typically comes from China. Okay. That's where the bamboo, Lisa, came into the equation. So that's what I picked up on Arizona Twitter.
okay.
So what we have now, we now do have the deleted database folders. The Dominion database folders were deleted, you guys, and then the County Board of Supervisors refused to give the passwords. Cyber ninjas hacked right into that like a knife going through butter. Despite the news accounts, it really was deleted. They were saying, oh, no, we didn't delete them. They weren't on the servers. No, they were deleted. That was confirmed by cyber ninjas.
Right.
Any IT guy can figure out a deleted file versus a non-deleted file. That's not, you don't have to have a degree from MIT to figure that one out.
But that just shows their guilt right there. Why are they deleting it?
I know, Lisa,
The fact that
right?
they deleted it. Yeah.
Right.
What are you trying to hide?
Right. It was Cipher who discovered this, and they are none other than the firm who discovered the June 2015 U.S. Government Office of Personnel Management breach, where the SF-B6 forms used for top security clearance were compromised. The bad guys had been infiltrated into OPM for 3 years. So this firm that is taken over to be an on-site auditor, Karen, the Arizona County Board of Supervisors said they're bogus. They have no history. Right here, it says they did top security audits and found discrepancies as far back as 2015. I don't call that no history. I don't call it no experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now here's interesting. It says the ballot box's pink slip says 200. Oh, this is really interesting. 200 ballots contained in the box, where really only 99 ballots were actually in the box. That's a massive discrepancy.
Mm-hmm.
There should be 2 cross references to verify this. That's what auditors do. They verify. The Dominion machine would have a batch number corresponding to that group of ballots, and Dominion should have the scanned images to similarly correlate to those ballots. Where are the remaining 101 ballots? Are they imaged in Dominion? Is their batch number tallied in Dominion? These are questions that the audit team is bringing up now. This is what they're finding out in the audit. This is, you guys, the meat of the crime right here. This is what is indisputable, and this is what shows you how deep and wide the swamp goes. But they're not. We're pulling back the covers, you guys. We're peeking under the covers with a flashlight. Now, these are the constituent questions. First one, will the AZ audit be enough? Answer, Senator Rogers. Yeah, it will inform legislation necessary to plug the gaps and to restore the public's confidence. Now, what he's not saying there, guys, do they have the power? Who constitutionally, Lisa, and I don't think anybody knows. Let's say it turns out that DJT won.
Mm-hmm. It's my understanding that the military steps in.
Okay.
Because it's their job to protect the people under the Constitution. And so that's my understanding, is that if that was to be found that way, that then the military would get involved. But I'm no constitutional expert. That's just my...
I mean, this is where it could get really biblical, really interesting. This is another interesting question. What has been the media's role? Rogers. The media have served to fragment and erode our confidence.
That's very true.
True. See, so you guys, people are waking up.
Yeah.
People, that's the good news. Then the next question, will it be provable? And he says, contrary to her claims, Secretary Hobbs, now she's the one that was trying to stop the audit, that's in the process of being removed from her audit duties, amongst other duties. Concern of contamination of the tabulator machines is completely baseless. Cipher's standard of operating procedures for the data collection are read-only capabilities such that nothing can be altered. They don't have the ability to, they're just reading the data off the server. That's what they're doing. Everything is also provable videoed. Dominion itself declined get this, you guys, Dominion itself declined the invitation to observe the audit. They were invited to come and they declined.
Why would they not? Yeah.
Okay. Question, will the Arizona audit's result be legally actionable? Now, this is the big question. Potentially, yes. Intent versus accidental sloppiness is determinable. So he's saying in a court of law, they can determine, were they trying to, do it maliciously, or were they just sloppy? I'm sorry, when you're a company like Dominion and your only job is to count pieces of paper,
and you create paper,
and then you lose passwords. I mean, is that like bad business practices? Maybe the judge says yes, maybe the judge says no. But here we go. This is the first clue that shows us backing out into more litigation. Okay?
Yeah.
Bottom line. The left redefines evidence to be proof. This is really important. The way it really goes is you have enough evidence to proceed with investigation and discovery. That's in a court of law. Then you determine the conclusion based upon proof. Example, you go outside and the ground is wet. Was it due to rain? Was it your neighbor's sprinklers? Was it the morning dew? One needs more information for proof. If the courts and media stop you, then you will never discover the proof to know the truth. That's what we're doing right now.
Right.
We're documenting the proof. So the people that want to stop this vote, every day that goes by, they're losing ground, you guys, because we're going to have the proof. We're going to show that the ground was wet and it was caused by the neighbor's sprinklers. And the neighbor is saying they didn't have their sprinklers on.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't even own sprinklers.
Right. Oh, wow.
Okay. So then this goes on and on. Oh, and by the way, let's talk about our little senator. This guy here, Senator Rogers, he's a retired United States Air Force lieutenant colonel, and she's a woman, confirms that this audit is dressed right. The media and Democrats like Katie Hobbs are propagating fear and distrust in the process because they don't want us to know the truth. So this lieutenant, Senator Rogers, is a woman, and she's also an Air Force colonel. So she's got huge credibility. So Lisa, is she knowing something behind the scenes about what would happen if this goes to a court of law? Is she put in place to help the military step in?
Well, and look at what if you a floor volunteer who is the retired U.S. Air Force pilot. So I guess this same person, Senator, right? Rogers,
Yes.
is the floor volunteer.
Yeah.
Says chain of custody procedures are as precise and flawless as the Strategic Air Command's sign off of authenticators or secrets was not as stringent as the Arizona audit. Going to the bathroom for 10 minutes requires a sign off. So that's pretty stringent when, when they're making you get a sign off to run to the bathroom for 10 minutes.
Exactly.
She says,
Exactly.
laughable that the Arizona Secretary of State said that her machines were compromised when she initially said they were unhackable. And let's remember that too. One minute they're like, trust me, these are unhackable. And the next minute they're like, oh, it's compromised. You can't have it both ways.
No.
So now we're going to find out. So were they unhackable or are they compromised?
Yeah. And see, this is, as I see it, Lisa, and you tell me what your thoughts are. And I don't know if people I really would love to know what you guys think. I mean, I know the majority, Lisa, of your viewers, are patriots and know all this, but I'd be curious. I mean, to me, what this looks like here is they're building all the evidence to take this to the Supreme Court because they know it's going to be a fight. It's not just going to end with, yeah, Lisa in the military, right. So I also think it's awfully interesting that she's retired military.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. It's not, none of this is by mistake. So, yeah. And we have some smart people in the chat room. They know what's up for sure.
Right. Exactly. And oh, by the way, where is his son's laptop?
And more is coming out about that too. There was, they were confirmations of business deals with Burisma executives thanking Hayden for meeting his dad at dinner, confirming that during his vice president term, he was at business dinner meetings, the ones that he says he didn't ever talk to his son about. He was actually physically there. So
right.
all that, more of that is coming out. I know we need to wrap up, but I do want to just touch on this really quick. You might want to go out and buy some meat. This is going to be the next shortage to push the narrative and try to cause some chaos. So, they had started talking about, oh, you need to eat this impossible meat and everybody should only have one burger a month or a year. I can't remember what they were talking about. And now they're saying there was an IT system hit with ransomware and 1/5 of the US beef production is wiped out. So just be smart as we go through this transition. Have some supplies that we don't know, what they're going to try to take down next. Some people are talking about, them hitting power grids and things like that. So just always a good idea to be prepared.
And, Lisa, that's a great point, because I also heard on Ben's channel this morning, evidently there was this huge shipping ship, like a mega size, that sunk off the coast of Japan. This was a mega liner, and it was filled with car parts, I guess coming to the US, maybe filled with car parts, sunk. Okay. They don't know what the cause, they don't know what happened. And so we're already seeing the chip shortages. We're already seeing this supply chain. So if any of you guys need
car dealerships, I mean, you can go to your local car dealerships, and the majority of the cars on the lots are used cars because they can't get new cars because they were already having the chip shortage. Like you said, they're having car parts shortages. Got robbed too in our chat was talking the other day. He's a trucker, and he was talking about how, the truck parts, if they shut down the trucking in the US, it will change everything. We need to be looking at sourcing local. We need to be getting back to, hashtag been on Main Street. I know I'm wearing this into the ground, but I just feel so strongly about it, you guys. We can, if we feel like we've had our voice or vote taken away, this is a way that we can use our energy and have our voice heard, and we can support our local mom and pop shops and do not let them go down during this transition. We can't let the big box win. So.
Right. Wow. Well, absolutely, Lisa. So, I think that, like, if you guys need car work done or new tires or, whatever it is people do to their cars. Also, Trump came out and said that a gas is evidently going to be $7-8 a gallon very shortly.
Oh yeah. Cause they did they shut off another pipeline.
Right.
What's that about? I can't remember. I'm sorry. I don't have that in front of me, but yes, it's going to be going on there. Yeah. Been on Main Street. That's right. I went to my local Thai place today for lunch and had a $20 lunch, and I paid $40. And the little guy was looking at me, and his business, he's kept it open, but he's really struggled. It's just him and his wife now. They can't afford to have people there, and they've really had a hard time. And so I'm trying to support them. I tagged and let everybody know they have great food, and I tipped well. And those are some things that we can do as we go through this transition, because the way they're printing more and more every day, we know that we can make a difference with, as our silver and our Bitcoin goes up, we can bring the rest of America along with us. And if we use something like a hashtag bet on Main Street, maybe we can have enough of a trend where they start going, why'd they give me a tip? You give people money, they pay attention. And we can definitely vote for our America's Main Street and bring that back, and bring our thriving communities. Go to your local farmers market on Saturday and Sunday.
Right.
Just try to shop local as much as you can.
Yeah. I agree. So in wrapping up, Lisa, I really want to thank you for giving me this time to share this information.
Yes,
I really want to
appreciate you.
thank everybody who likes the video, subscribes to Lisa's channel. Please share this video. It goes without saying. We don't have a lot of free speech left. It's hard to do these shows and, like, what to say, what not to say.
Right.
But I do think if we can just bring one person who's feeling despair right now, one thing I will say, people are going off at alarming rates. I heard this morning on the news that a Southwest airline, a lot of people traveled over the Memorial Day weekend. Evidently, travelers in the air are on some kind of rage. So this flight attendant on a Southwest flight yesterday, she asks a passenger to put his seatbelt on, and he or she stands up and clocks this flight attendant. Her teeth are all out of her face.
What?
Yes. So what happens is the flight attendants union and the airline pilots union came forward and made a statement today. They said they've never seen such hostile and aggressive travelers as ever before as this past Memorial Day weekend. I mean, people are on the edge, and they're saying that it's very common to see hostile behavior and
Well,
aggressive.
my experience was when we flew out to Arizona and came back, we walked through the airport and we don't have masks on. And I had several people staring at us and giving us dirty looks. And then we walked right through TSA. They told us to have a nice day and we're kind of smiling, but I couldn't tell because I had a mask on. And we got to the thing, and then the stewardesses come out and, stalk on the little thing and tell everybody to line up or whatever. And when we went to get on the plane, I did put my mask on to get on the plane because it's my understanding that that's their private property. And so if I want to use their business, then I need to do that. But they would not serve me a drink. They're like glaring at me. They're whispering with each other and staring at me and Charlie. And I was like, they walked past me 2 or 3 times. I'm like, excuse me, excuse me. So, I mean, I'm seeing the aggressiveness of some of the stewardesses, and I'm flying to Miami tomorrow. So I hope everyone has a wonderful, positive, kind day. If everyone will send me some love and protection from, I think it's just that we're all 9/11 and TSA came in. And it used to be that when you flew, you were treated like royalty. They were so happy that you were there. They treated you like you were like, and then it got to be this where it's your privilege to fly.
Yeah,
It's not your right to fly anymore. And now it's, well, we allow you to fly if you will stand on your head and jump on one leg and bark like a dog or whatever. And then now it's, they're talking about, and it's not, they're trying to take away our freedoms, trying to take them away a little at a time. So
right.
we got to stand up to this. And a lot of this is unveiling the truth and the work that you're doing, finding this information so we can tell people things are happening, the scenes, even the stuff with Hobbs and, getting people like that out of the way legally in a legal and peaceful manner.
Sure.
That's what we can do.
Absolutely. They're stripping her of some of her duties, which include overseeing the audit.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, you guys go to Operation Sunlight. You can also check out in the description, I've got Operation Sunlight. I've got a link to Amy's website where you can find her book, Don't Trip Potato Chip, if you know anybody who's suffering with grief or loss, as well as being able to contact Amy directly on there. Then I have my Purple Power C60 link, and I will be on John Claude's channel tonight with Ken Schwartz and talking about when bots go rogue. I'm not sure what I have to add to the content, but we'll see. So like this video, share it, get it out there, and take some action. And remember to love one another. Take care.